In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hi, and welcome into Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host, Trey Bassa, and today we're discussing a couple who wants to spend all of their nest egg before they die. That's why we've gathered a full panel of professionals. Today, the panel includes Larry Kloefkorn, financial advisor and founding partner of Market Advisory Group; Lauren Dietz, tax advisor from Market Tax Services; Gerald Eidelman, estate planning attorney and founder of Eidelman Law Firm; and Kimberly Sixkiller, life and long-term care advisor from Market Advisory Group. Welcome in, everyone. Larry, who are we talking about today?
Well, I have some clients, Tina and Tyler, that they have been clients for about 4 years, and delightful couple, by the way. And in our latest review, they revealed to me that because they have ample savings, ample retirement, that they have done a really good job accumulating. They said they want to spend that money. They want to make sure that they enjoy it while they're still young, and they are still young. I mean, he's in his early 60s, and she's 9 years younger. So, they have a lot of opportunity here for enjoying themselves. Now, one of the things that is refreshing is I've gone over with them from time to time about some instruments that would work well for them, and they were always a hard no. I think because they just didn't know enough and wanted to keep it simple with stuff they did know. Well, now they're asking about, would that be the answer for this situation? So that's a very smart thing that they're doing. I've often said to people that the mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. and I like the way they're open-minded now. And so that's kind of the setup.
It took some time just to expose them to a couple of ideas.
Yes.
Now that we know a little bit more about their situation, a lot of the time we can find out that it's what we don't know that hurts us.
Yes.
What don't Tina and Tyler know?
Well, we don't know what the future looks like for them for health. They're in good health right now, but we all know people who they had a curveball thrown at them and wasn't expecting to have a medical issue to deal with. So that's an unknown, and we certainly want them to be prepared for that. We want them well covered. What will be the costs in the future? We've had inflation. It turned out not to be transitory. It's still here.
It's still alive and well.
And then we don't know how long they're going to live. I was kidding around with him. I said, if you can give me the date in which you'll be finished on this earth, that would really help a lot. And I said, as far as myself, I looked at my birth certificate and there's no expiration date, so that wasn't any help. I said, I did have someone one time tell me that they wanted to spend their last dollar on their last day. And he very quickly quit back. He said, I want my last check to bounce. So, that's an unknown. We don't, planning for an uncertain end is a challenge.
Health seems to be the larger theme with Tina and Tyler. Is that something that you've talked extensively with them about?
Not extensively yet at this time, but it is something that they definitely need coverage. She is still working part-time, and she does get medical insurance for the both of them. But if they are going to start traveling or doing things together that's going to interfere with her continued employment, they're going to have to look elsewhere. And I think that's actually something you get to help with.
Yeah, I'd get to sit down with Tina because of that 9-year age gap. Tyler's going to be eligible for Medicare long before Tina is, and now there's this mistimed step for their health care. If Tina goes into early retirement, if she goes into early retirement just to enjoy time with Tyler, all of a sudden we have this discrepancy of, well, she's not eligible for Medicare, what does she get? So we would actually turn to the Affordable Care Act. When we're looking at, in this particular situation, when we're looking at an early retirement, we have one person that could be pulling off of retirement funds a little bit earlier, making some moves in their retirement plans. Well, the other one is a little too early to draw off of those retirement accounts. So that's going to go into the household income and to determine what they're going to be paying for Tina's ACA plan for a little while. Kim, I want to pivot to you. We're talking about just some healthcare in general. I want to bring you into the conversation to talk about.
And in fact, sorry to interrupt.
You're good. You're good.
But you know, one of the reasons I thought of Kim and needing this is because, again, talking about that age difference, if the older one were to have a long-term care event, it could wreck their entire plan, and not only that, it could impoverish her. And so that has to be a key component. And I don't know of anyone better than Kim at making sure that we have the best type of plan that will make sure that she doesn't become impoverished.
Oh, well, thank you, Larry. Yeah, no, Tina and Tyler, they're great examples of why you need a team working together, right? So Tina and Tyler have a clear vision of the future that they want. And in this case, the goal, as you said, truly is to maintain their current quality of life and comfort and enjoy every minute of their time on this earth. So, as Larry mentioned, you know, they have about a decade, just a decade shy of an age difference. And so health is really that crucial consideration because it can completely change their retirement structure. You know, when you're looking at clients in their age bracket, I mean, a 61-year-old male in the US, he has a life expectancy to about 82 years old, so about 21 more years. And a 52-year-old female currently in the US, you're looking at living to just past 80, so about 28 years. So how do we make sure that we cover those gaps and they can both enjoy their lives, but also know that the one who's still here, if they have a significantly longer portion of time, we don't spend all that money, right? So one of the things that after talking to Larry, you know, we really needed to confer with Lauren and Gerald and our legal team to say, hey, you know, what's that optimal approach? And so that's where, because both of them are quite healthy currently, we were able to look at a life insurance that has a death benefit involved in it, but also a long-term care insurance option. So then we wanted to look at estate planning. And of course, we know Tina and Tyler, they said, we don't have a lot of interest in estate planning. And so what was important is, and you'll hear from Gerald, is, well, when we talk about estate planning, we were really more meant, how do we make sure that we don't take up your entire estate with one of you in long-term care? So of course, we have ways that Gerald's team can help protect those assets. And I think that really what they are able to see in this process is there's so much more than just the standard, hey, let's just look at our current situation. Let's look at that longevity and taking care of each other long after one has passed. So it's a great case to kind of to look at and dig into.
When your financial advisor isn't working with your tax advisor, who isn't working with your healthcare advisor, things can get missed and create even more surprise expenses. But at Market Advisory Group, we are all about working together. To see if we could be the right team for you, all it takes is a 15-minute introductory phone call. To set up your 15-minute phone visit, call us at 833-MAG-REPOT. MAG Report. That's 833-624-7376. Or check out our website at ionretirement.com. There, you can also watch past episodes or submit a question for us to possibly answer in a future episode. In the next segment of Ion Retirement, we continue with Tina and Tyler's retirement plan. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back into Ion Retirement. In the last segment, we were talking about Tina and Tyler's retirement plan. Larry, I want to touch on something that you said in segment A. Tina and Tyler have no interest in leaving a legacy. Let's dive into that a little bit more.
Okay. So they have no children, and so, you know, that with most families, that's the automatic, you know, but in their case, it's not. And when he said he's not necessarily interested in a legacy, or definitely not in a legacy, that means he doesn't want a hospital wing named after him or anything. But there still can be a need for estate planning for while they're still living and to finalize things.
So let's turn to Gerald Eidelman from Eidelman Law Firm. Gerald, because they have no interest in leaving a legacy, that means they don't need an estate plan, right?
Well, that would be easy if we could do that. But the reality is that you have to look at the fact that property is going to pass to someone. If you don't designate who that someone would be, it's going to be the government that tells you where the money is going to go. It might go to some long-lost relative, or it might wind up in the coffers of the Kansas state or Missouri state or whatever state you're in. And so that, when I tell people that, they take a step back and, you know, Tina and Tyler kind of reconsider their idea of having no legacy. They just didn't want to be bothered trying to figure out what they need to do. They want to talk about death. They're young. They're at that age where death is a little more scary because you're getting closer to it than otherwise. So for them, it's about engaging in the possibilities of, you know, providing for some particular nonprofit organization that they belong. Their school alma mater, you know, and also giving something to some family members, maybe nephews, nieces, and other people who might have a need to, or would be greatly benefit from receiving those funds. So it was that considerations that got him motivated to start thinking about estate plan and actually work on it with me.
We haven't talked about taxes yet either on all of this stuff. Lauren Dietz from Market Tax Services. With all of Tina and Tyler's different goals and how relatively young they are, how does taxes play into their plan?
So they're wanting to enjoy their money while they are alive and travel, vacation, do all of the things.
Absolutely.
So a lot of it is just really, we are doing regular withholdings reviews with them to make sure that as they're taking more money out of those accounts to be able to go do these things, that we're making sure that that tax is getting paid so they're not surprised with the big tax bill at the end of the year.
Sometimes that turns into estimates.
Yeah, sometimes it does turn into estimates, and it also is going to play into Social Security when they're both drawing that. Another thing that we have been helping them with has been Roth conversions, trying to get more of their money out of being in a pre-tax account into something that can continue to grow tax-free so that there's not as much of a burden in the future for them.
Yeah, and the burden in the future would be when they reach RMD age, RMD, of course, stands for required minimum distributions. Just think of, they're spending that money, but there's still going to be something when they reach the age of 73 or 75 for her. And that's, they're going to be forced to take money rather than do it just as they want.
We can never see into the future to know what will go wrong in our retirements. But that doesn't mean you can't plan ahead to address a lot of the possible issues. Do you have those plans? All it takes is a 15-minute introductory phone call to find out what your plan might be missing. Go ahead and set up that 15-minute phone visit right now. Just dial 833-MAG-REPORT. That's 833-624-7376. Or you can visit our website at ionretirement.com to schedule. There, you can also check out past episodes where we focus on different client stories where retirement went wrong. Stay tuned. In the next segment of Ion Retirement, we turn our attention to some questions from viewers just like you. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back into Ion Retirement. To close out this episode, we're going to look at some viewer questions. If you have a question you'd like answered on a future episode, just go to ionretirement.com and click Submit a Question. Our first question comes from Carl M. Carl asks, is it possible to receive Social Security from a deceased spouse? If so, how? Larry?
The answer to that is yes. As long as they were married for 10 years, and it's called a widow's or widower benefit. The normal age that is the earliest you can start Social Security is 62. However, when it is a widow or widower's benefit, they can start at age 60. And what a common approach is to take that benefit being off of your deceased spouse's Social Security, take that for the next several years and allow your own to roll up and become larger and larger. And then if you wait until age 70, it could be a significant jump when you switch over to your own.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's go to question number 2. Question 2 comes from Shelly R. Shelly asks, what's better, a trust or a will? Sounds like estate planning. Gerald?
Yes. There is no direct answer, and everybody wants to know this question. The reality is that people need different things depending on where they're at in life. And a lot of things can be passed through, everything can be passed through a will, but a will takes you into probate court. That means a process that's going to last 6 months to a year or more. That means having to file different papers with the court to allow you to sell the house, to allow you to collect bank accounts. So that's a long process in which you're going to pay anywhere $5,000 to $10,000 in a simple estate, and the sky's the limit if it's a complicated estate. So a will is always not the best avenue to go. But let's suppose, on the other hand, that your assets are such that you have everything can be done by beneficiary designations, for example, like a bank account, retirement accounts, and your home. Those you can pass outside the will and not be affected by probate. So if you designate the right beneficiary for each of your accounts, you can't pass it on to a person without having to go through probate court. And the same is true for a house. House can be transferred with a transfer on death deed. Now, there is a downside to this, and that is that any of the beneficiaries that you assign winds up dying before you do, then their share is going to have to be probated in their state, in the deceased person's state, which again brings you back to probate.
And that's something very few people think about.
That's right. So the best, really, the best thing to do usually is a trust, assuming you have the right assets. People think a trust is about how much money you have, and it's not. A trust can help you facilitate transferring of assets to your children, to your heirs, privately, without having to have court supervision, without having to ask for, can we sell the house? When you go sell the house in court, you have to get it appraised, you have to get the court to approve the appraisal, and only then can you sell the house. When you have a trust, you can just sell it. You make a decision of what's the best price that you're getting, and you can sell it. And if, for example, each beneficiary should predecease you, and they're still receiving that portion of their inheritance, it would be set up so that it goes to their next generation or to anybody else they want to. So you can prepare for that gap that probate creates. I think that in general, it's a much more organized system. You can plan much better. You can dictate at what age people can have the money. You can dictate how much they can get paid out. So all of these things are tremendously important to be able to carry on your wishes after you die. So trust is usually the better choice.
Sounds like a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different vehicles to transfer all these kinds of different assets, especially when we're talking about postmortem.
Right.
When we're talking about passing things down, how is it going to affect next of kin, their tax obligation, or even how they're going to take that distribution? Do you know the tax code by heart? Maybe you do, but do you also know Medicare and estate law? There's just too much in retirement for any one person to understand on their own, and you don't have to. If you'd like to set up a 15-minute introductory phone call with Market Advisory Group just to see if we're the right fit for you, reach out right now at 833-MAG-REPORT. That's 833-624-7376, or you can do so at our website, ionretirement.com. You can also find Ion Retirement on YouTube, where we upload all of our past episodes for you to watch on demand. That's all the time we have for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Trey Bossa, along with the entire panel, reminding you that we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client and prospect names mentioned on this show have been changed to protect the identities of the individuals discussed. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Edelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal/tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. All rights reserved.